Most 40-year-olds are thinking about their knees. Cristiano Ronaldo is thinking about his body fat percentage, which sits at approximately 7% lower than most professional athletes half his age, while training twice a day, sleeping in 90-minute cycles, eating 6 carefully timed meals, and maintaining a physical condition that makes sports scientists genuinely uncomfortable with their existing models of athletic aging. This is not genetics alone. This is a system. A daily routine built over 2 decades, refined season by season, adjusted by specialists, and executed with the specific obsessiveness of a person who decided very early in his life that discipline was the one variable he could control completely. Here is what a day in Cristiano Ronaldo's life actually looks like. The sleep system, not what you think most elite athletes prioritize sleep. Ronaldo has gone further than almost any of them by restructuring how sleep works entirely. The approach he has used across significant portions of his career is polyphasic sleep, breaking total sleep time into multiple shorter cycles rather than one continuous 8-hour block. The version documented during his time at Manchester United involved approximately 5 90-minute naps across a 24-hour period rather than a single long sleep. The 90-minute unit is not arbitrary. It corresponds to one complete sleep cycle, the time it takes to move through light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep in a full rotation. Waking at the end of a 90-minute cycle, rather than in the middle of one, means waking during the lightest phase, rather than being pulled out of deep or REM sleep mid-cycle, which reduces the grogginess and cognitive impairment that most people experience when an alarm interrupts a cycle. The practical effect for Ronaldo is the ability to distribute recovery across the day, rather than concentrating it in a single overnight block, which fits the structure of a footballer who trains twice daily and needs multiple recovery windows between sessions. His fitness advisor, Nick Broad, has confirmed that Ronaldo's sleep approach is one of the primary pillars of his physical maintenance program. His bedroom environment supports the system. Complete darkness is non-negotiable. Temperature is controlled to the cooler end of the range that sleep science recommends. Screens are managed. The conditions are treated with the same precision that the training sessions are. 5 a.m. The morning begins. The alarm end of a sleep cycle comes early. Ronaldo has consistently described starting his day between 5 and 6 in the morning, regardless of what time he went to sleep. The first thing is not coffee. Ronaldo does not drink alcohol or consume significant quantities of caffeine. His pre-training fuel comes entirely from food. Breakfast is the first of 6 meals he eats across the day. The composition is specific. Lean protein, typically eggs or ham, whole grain carbohydrates, fresh fruit, and water. No sugary cereals, no processed food, nothing that spikes blood sugar without sustained energy to back it up. This is not a preference. It is a calculated physiological decision. High glycemic foods produce energy peaks followed by crashes. Ronaldo needs sustained energy output across a training session that will last hours. His longtime personal chef, Lionel Rodriguez, who has followed him from Juventus to Manchester United to Al Nassr, has spoken about the dietary philosophy. The central principle is that the body is a performance instrument, and fuel quality determines performance quality. Everything Ronaldo eats is evaluated through that lens. Taste is secondary. Function is primary. Morning training, the technical session. The first training session of the day takes place at Al Nassr's training facility in Riyadh. This is the team session: tactical work, technical drills, set pieces, match preparation. But within that collective structure, Ronaldo operates with individual intensity that his current coach Luis Castro has specifically commented on. Castro told media, "The real secret lies in what he does before and after training, what we call invisible training." His behavior is all tailored towards sports performance: his diet, his sleep, and his recovery. He is a person deeply concerned with eating well, sleeping well, and preparing his body properly. In my opinion, this is clearly where Cristiano's longevity comes from. The invisible training Castro references is the work that happens around the formal session. Ronaldo arrives early. He stays late. The first 15 minutes before team training begins, and the 30 minutes after it ends, are his. In those windows, he works on specific technical elements: dead ball delivery, finishing from tight angles, the movements that have produced his goals across a career that now extends past 910. His documented gym work within the training environment focuses on functional strength rather than aesthetic development. Jump squats for explosive power. Medicine ball throws for rotational force. Sprint mechanics. Pull movements. The body fat percentage of 7% is the result not of a bodybuilder's program, but of an athlete's program, everything calibrated to what the pitch demands rather than what looks impressive in a photograph. Mid-morning, meal 2, and the first recovery window after the morning session comes the second meal, and the first deliberate recovery window of the day. The meal composition shifts toward protein recovery, grilled chicken or fish, complex carbohydrates, vegetables. The principle is the same across every meal: protein to repair muscle, carbohydrates to replenish glycogen, micronutrients from vegetables, and consistent hydration across everything. Ronaldo's water intake across a day has been documented at over 3 liters. Hydration is treated as a performance variable rather than a comfort choice. Dehydration at even 2% of body weight produces measurable reductions in physical and cognitive performance. For a player who relies on sharp decision-making as much as physical capacity, maintaining optimal hydration is not optional. The first recovery window involves either a pool session, massage, or the beginning of a nap cycle depending on the day's schedule. The napping is not leisure. It is physiological maintenance. The sleep cycle completed in the afternoon produces the recovery that allows the afternoon's second training session to be executed at quality. Afternoon. The second training session of the day, is typically the individual session, the one Ronaldo designs and executes for his own development rather than the team's tactical preparation. This is where the obsessive specificity of his approach is most visible. The work varies. Some days it is finishing hundreds of repetitions of specific shots from specific positions. Some days it is agility and change of direction. Some days it is strength work in the gym that supplements what the morning session already delivered. The through line is intentionality. Every repetition has a purpose. Nothing is done casually because it feels like training. Everything is done to solve a specific physical or technical problem. People around Ronaldo have described the volume of these individual sessions as genuinely remarkable, not just in frequency, but in quality. He does not simply go through motions at the end of a training day. He performs the second session with the same intensity he brings to the first, which is itself executed with the intensity most players bring to matches. Evening, the controlled wind-down by late afternoon. Ronaldo is back at the family compound, the Riyadh residence he shares with Georgina Rodriguez and his 5 children. The evening is the most human part of the routine. He is publicly and consistently vocal about the importance of family time, and the evenings are when that priority becomes operational. Dinner is the largest meal of the day, grilled fish, typically, which he has consistently cited as his favorite food. Swordfish and sea bass appear most frequently in documented accounts of his dietary preferences. The meal is accompanied by salad and vegetables, followed by fruit. The pattern across all 6 meals of the day is protein and whole food carbohydrates, with seasonal variation, but structural consistency. Recovery continues into the evening. The cryotherapy sessions that Ronaldo has used throughout his career, cold chambers, ice baths, typically happen in this window when they are included. The principle behind cryotherapy is the reduction of inflammation through cold exposure, accelerating muscle repair, and reducing the soreness that accumulates across a training day of the volume Ronaldo maintains. He owns his own cryotherapy chamber, which has been visible in documentary footage of his homes. The investment in the equipment reflects the investment in the system. He does not use a public facility when he can have the capability in his own compound. The private jet, between cities, between seasons when matches take Al Nassr across the region, and when international duty calls Ronaldo to wherever Portugal is playing, the logistics become their own category. Ronaldo's private jet, the Gulfstream G700, is one of the most capable business aircraft in the world. Range of approximately 7,500 nautical miles. Configuration that includes sleeping quarters, allowing him to continue the sleep cycle management even during transit. The jet is not a luxury item in the conventional sense of the phrase. It is a recovery tool. Commercial air travel involves schedules that do not bend to sleep cycles, food that does not meet his nutritional standards, and crowds that compromise rest. Every element of a commercial flight runs counter to the system he has built. The private aircraft is the system extended into transit. He controls the environment, the timing, the food, and the sleep conditions in the air as precisely as he controls them on the ground. What the system actually is, when you lay out the full day, the polyphasic sleep, the 6 meals, the dual training sessions, the cryotherapy, the water intake, the zero alcohol, the zero caffeine, the private jet as recovery infrastructure, what you are looking at is not a famous person living extravagantly. You are looking at a project. Ronaldo decided very early that his body was the project. Every decision since has been evaluated against the question of whether it helps the project or costs it. The wealth that football has produced is largely directed back into the infrastructure that sustains elite performance rather than into the comforts that wealth typically buys. At 41 years old, he scored 910 career goals and counting. He has the body fat percentage of an elite sprinter. He trains twice a day. He takes this as seriously today as he did at 22. The routine is not about discipline for its own sake. It is about the gap between what he can be and what everyone around him is willing to be. And he has never stopped trying to close it.